Hello? Hello, hello, hello. Is this working? Hello? Oh my gosh. It's working. That's so awesome. Hello, everybody. I had to turn it on. Well, that's great. Thank you so much for waiting. I'm glad that's working. We're just going to plug it in. So hopefully you can hear me a lot better now. Kindred angels. I got a bunch of pink stuff. So I got a new pink microphone. Hopefully it helps the sound a lot better. I didn't read the instructions. But welcome. Today is episode number 78. I'm so sorry I did not do a podcast last week. I canned probably about 125 pounds of peaches altogether. And so it was a lot. And I guess I can label off the thing. So, but first and foremost, my name is Amelie. I am the host of Celestic Intelligence Podcast, and we are on episode number 78. So last week, on Saturday, not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before last, I went and I bought 150 pounds of peaches, and these peaches are from Harry and David, which is this like specialty orchard where they specialize in their well-known one is a pear. It's a Riviera pear, and it's really, really big. And so those usually go out around Christmas time. But they also have peaches, and their peaches are so good. And the ones that I got are like the fruit of the month box rejects. How dare me? Yeah. So it was so many peaches. I lost 3 peaches. So if I think it's like maybe 1.5 peaches is about a pound. So that's a lot of peaches. Various sizes. I saved some of the pits. I'm going to be making an amaretto liqueur, a peach amaretto liqueur with those. And I made some cider vinegar with the bruised parts of the peach and with the skins. So that is cooking up right now. That takes a few months to just kind of sit and ferment and whatever. I made hot sauce, salsa, puree, or some people call it nectar. I made chutney, pepper jam, vanilla peach butter, and pie filling. And yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. So, needless to say, that was kind of like this. Um, what would you say? It was kind of like this like a part-time job on top of my job. So it was pretty crazy. No, I am not married. Not married at all. What did you do with them all? Yeah, no, I processed them. So yeah, it was a lot. And, that was just the start of the canning saga for this year because I always make peaches or I always make salsa and I make it out of tomato. It's like Tostitos, but I think it's way better. It tastes way better. The ingredients, it has the perfect flavor, the perfect coating for the chip dips in the winter, and I live off of salsa. So I'm like a little bit of a salsa snob when it comes down to it. And what about sauerkraut? Oh, I was thinking about making a peach mustard because I saw that online. So I'm gonna try it out because I still have a little bit of peaches left. Oh, and I froze some peaches for like smoothies or in the event that you need peaches for something, it'll come in clutch with if I, use up all the pie filling or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. Um, so yeah, I was super busy and it was a lot of work. I also make pickles every year because I will live off of pickles all year. It's like the perfect girl dinner. I don't know why people like talk S on it, because I will literally have pickles for dinner. It's unbelievably surreal and honest. Victoria's Secret is a man. What about sauerkraut? Let's see. Oh, do you? Chad Thompson is in the house. Valhalla YouTube is in the house. Hello, you guys. Thank you for joining. Um, Moog Hall and also Kindred is in the house, just showing some love. All right. So we've kind of been talking about AI, and um, I last year started getting in my feed all of this like AI takeover fear, and last not the last week, but the last episode, we kind of went into a little bit of um, just kind of looking at the fear of AI, legitimizing it because there is some legitimacy to having those fears, and really looking at what are the solutions that we can look to in order to kind of get through this next phase of life. I know, where is Mike? He'll be here. He'll show up. um, so today, I really wanted to kind of go over some of the qualities that I think are really valuable and worth cultivating. So today's title of the episode is called Qualities Worth Cultivating. And with AI and just the way that we have our culture set up, particularly in America, how we have our culture set up is really tuned into your productivity, your capacity, your cognitive intelligence. And it's really just focused on this: how can I perform the best? And that is really valuable. Yes, people do appreciate productivity. But when we are faced with AI coming in, then we kind of see that the AI can perform a lot better at certain tasks than people, where a human mind can computate at a certain rate. A computer can compute a lot faster, and I think we can all agree with that. And one of the questions that I start asking myself is, as this intelligence starts to accelerate and starts to, integrate with how our lives are performed, what qualities do we want to cultivate that aren't reducible to this optimization that we are watching kind of unfold in a new power? So the new power is going to be that cognitive intelligence computing at faster and faster rates than we are able to do. And really, what happens is we start to question our own identity as, what is our worth as humans if we're not the top dog that is able to be the cognitive intelligence um, that AI is replacing for us? So, I want to talk about what qualities we do want to cultivate, because we want to. I always want to look at, okay, this stuff is happening, but now what does that mean for me? Now, what does that mean for me to focus on? Okay. Because, AI is going to be something that is going to permeate all aspects of our lives to come. And when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at it from this: we're feeling a little disembodied if our identities are coming into question of like, what worth do I have if I'm not the intelligence, if I'm not the productive one, if I'm not the capacity? Okay. So the thing I do want to say that I'm perceiving is happening is that um, as these as AI increases and that intelligence, that cognitive intelligence is more and more fine tuned, okay, I want to pull back from saying, what can AI do? And start comparing us as humans to AI. What can AI do? Okay. But really stop and ask, what qualities are we called to cultivate as this intelligence becomes more abundant, as it becomes increasingly abundant? And it's not that it's not possible that some of these qualities may be AI oriented in the future, but for now, we're really coming up to that the cross of how are we kind of taking that information in and utilizing it. Okay. So the first quality I want to talk about, I have 25. So the first quality I want to talk about that's worth cultivating is wisdom. So in my past streams, I've talked about how knowledge is power, and that's a phrase that's been around for a long time, and we can definitely say yes, knowledge is power. Um, Before computers, before libraries, even before the printing press, the people that had knowledge were the ones that held the power. I don't know if you guys know about is it the Lords of London? Um, so there was a coffee shop in London, and that's where all of the sailors, all of the captains, all of the ships would come to this hub in London, and they would be served coffee, and they would spread the information of wherever they've been sailing to. So if they were in Africa, if they were in China, if they were in the Americas, when they came back into London, they would go to the coffee shop, and that's where all the information would be. They would, say, oh yeah, this is going on in this part of the country. So obviously that information took a long time to go from one country to another when you don't have motorized vehicles. But they would go to this coffee shop because it wasn't tea. Everyone drank tea, but not coffee, and they would come for the coffee, and so that novelty was there. And then all of them coming for that coffee, now they're spreading all that information because knowledge is knowing, knowledge is power. Okay. And so when we came into the printing press was a power. Okay. Now you can repeat pieces of paper with the same print. You can put it on a piece of paper, and now you can spread that same information on that one paper to many different people. Okay. So that Gutenberg printing press was a huge power that shifted the way that civilization managed knowledge, managed power. Okay. And then when we came into the information age, the digital age, think the internet, and beyond what all that technology has allowed us to do, what we're capable of doing. My son has a little box. It's about this big, and it's 2 terabytes of information just stored in that. Where 20 years ago, probably would have been this huge box thing that probably wasn't even conceivable to have even a tetrabyte in some sort of device to maintain that information. AI is BS. If I hope you overstand. Oh, okay. I mean, you can have that opinion. I'm not stopping you from that. I don't think it's BS. I think that it's just one of the things that we're utilizing in here. Hey, it's illegal, by the way. What's illegal? AI? I'd be interested in hearing more information about how it's illegal. Okay. So now we have, from the information age, from that digital age of having the internet and all this storage capacity, and now even cloud sharing, we have an overabundance of knowledge, an overabundance of information. Okay. And so it's not necessarily that knowledge is not important, but when you look at knowledge, what is the like what would be the opposite part of that? Would be wisdom. The wisdom to know what to do with that information, the wisdom to see into the future. Okay. So, wisdom is knowing what matters with that information, with that knowledge, and how to utilize it. Okay. So, that's where that quality is going to become even more important to seeing, with all the knowledge that we have, how are we utilizing it to make the world a better place? Okay. The next quality is discernment. So, discernment is otherwise known as an ability to distinguish, okay? Discerning. So, you're looking at discerning truth from persuasion. So, knowing when somebody's trying to persuade you into something, um, and see the truth of what they're trying to persuade you in. All right. The signal that comes from noise, like a lot of information. You can go onto YouTube right now, watch shorts for a long period of time if you wanted to. It would just keep going and flowing and flowing. And there's all kinds of new, novel information in there. But it can be a bit noisy. It might be a bit noisy to you. And so, really, just distinguishing, what is the signal? What is the information that I'm gleaning from this versus just having that noise rattling in your head to look this pretty. Thanks, Aqua Gaming. You're adorable. Um, the next the next discernment, or the next ability to distinguish, is fear from intuition. So a lot of people will have fear, and that is a normal response, especially to things that are unknown. And AI and where it's going is a little bit in this unknown region. It's really being parsed apart. People are having reactions. They're worried about data centers popping up everywhere. And so there's a lot of fear that is behind that, you know. But being able to intuit, just really be connected to, okay, how is this affecting me, and how can I distinguish the fear from my intuition, and really incorporate this information, so that I have the best um, way to distinguish what is fear and what is really my feeling of where I should be going with this. And then finally, the ability to distinguish the information from insight. Okay. So we've got a lot of information out there, but can we glean from that insight to distinguish and discern the situations in front of us? All right. The next quality I want to talk about is presence. Okay. This is such a beautiful one. And I spent many, many years working to become as present as I possibly could in my life. All right. What is presence, and what do I mean by presence? It means just being fully here in this moment. And a lot of what I'm talking about in my podcasts is how to become present. And it's such a beautiful thing. So, I bike to work, and I bike to work in all weather. And I live in the Pacific Northwest, and it rains a lot, and it's pretty cold in the winter time, and it gets really smoky here. It's really smoky here today in the summertime, from the forest fires and everything like that. Okay. But one thing that I've noticed in just commuting to work on my bike is how much I notice not just the weather, but I notice animals, I notice trees, I see the river, and I'm like saying good morning to them when I am going to work. And it really hit me the other day. I was just looking at this beautiful oak tree and I was just looking at how magnificent and huge it was. And I just thought to myself, like, oh, I could just tell that the tree really liked me paying attention to the tree. Okay? So a lot of the time we'll be paying attention to our electronic devices and not really giving time to pay attention to the nature around us. And so when I was looking at this tree, I was really being super present in myself of like, acknowledging, okay, my attention is going to this beautiful leafed tree. Like all the oak leaves looked so green. And I was just standing there and I was kind of in awe of it. And, it was really windy. And I'm just like watching it. I'm like, wow. And then with all the things that I've been talking about, it dawned on me that the tree also enjoys the attention that you give it. And we are here on this earth responsible for attending and using our authority to, you know, make changes in this world. How is AI running your life? It's not, in my opinion. How is AI running my life? I mean, AI is not running my life right now. I'm talking about how to kind of pull away from it and really distinguish yourself from it. So, Um, so here I am. I'm just really noticing how much attention I'm paying to this tree and really thinking about how important attention is, because attention is the most valuable resource that you're going to have in the next, I would say, at least the next decade. Your attention is a mineable resource at the moment. It's not your labor anymore, it's your attention. You being connected to your phone, you being connected to your computer, being connected to devices, connection, but it's like this electronic connection to, okay, let's connect you. I mean, they're making computer interface devices right now to connect to your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, and having that ability to predict that with wearable devices. And I don't even think we need to have wearable devices. I mean, there's already been evidence that people will just think of something and then all of a sudden there's an ad for it. You think of, oh man, I really need to get, try to think of some brand. I really need to get Pepsi. And then all of a sudden you have Pepsi commercials on your devices just aimed at you and you're like, didn't even say it out loud. You just maybe thought it. Oh man, I really, want to purchase some Pepsi. Then all of a sudden that Pepsi starts coming in. You start to see those ads from Pepsi. And so I think that the technology is already there. It's just not in the sense that it's going to be. Okay. So we're really looking to be fully present. So as I'm looking at the tree, really paying attention to what I'm paying attention to, and I just got this instinctual feeling that as I'm tuning in and paying attention to this tree, it's like it was kind of telling me, like, thanks for seeing me. And that's what being fully present is being able to feel in your body that I'm here in this present moment, in this present time. And I'm not just here consuming life, I'm here experiencing it. and having this moment with a tree, having a moment with the river. And there's this duck. He's such a punk rock duck, and I think I posted a video on him. I call him Sid. He's got this really cool. He's a white. I think he's a Muscovy duck, and he's got this really cool black mohawk and like this red tattered face or whatever. He's really cool. I don't know if somebody owns him, but that guy has a mohawk. But I see him every morning when I go to work, and it's just kind of interesting having these relationships with my bike commute and being out in nature and really truly experiencing it and enjoying the presence of being in this 3D reality. Like, I do not like to hear people say, oh, yeah, this is a terrible timeline to be in. Life is awful, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just thinking, I am so present and I'm so appreciative of being able to can 150 pounds of peaches and be able to bike to work and be able to go to work out and to have my son and spend the time that I spend with him and just be really grateful for the presence that I have in this realm that I'm in this moment. So having presence is a very important quality to cultivate. Now, the next um, quality we're going to talk about is embodiment, and this is really related. Oh, Mike's here. Hello, Mike. Aren't we connected? Aren't we connected right now? AI is not connected to you or me. I don't quite understand the question. So let's talk about embodiment. And embodiment is really listening to your intelligence that's in your body. So I did a stream called Coherence a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago now, which really looks at not just being in your brain's intelligent body, right? Using your brain, but also experiencing your heart and connecting those two together. A lot of us override the heart. A lot of us override the body. We're like, oh, we just need to get the thing done and not really listen to the intelligence of the body, okay? Not listen to where the tension is sitting, not seeing how are we breathing, what are we moving, what it feels like to touch something, and really just listening to all of that. Not just all of those things, but also the rhythm of your life as well, and really listening to your body of when you need to rest. Okay. So last week I was working and I was doing all this canning, and I was like, I'm going to go online. But by day 3 or 4, I could barely function. I could barely chat. And I just knew I needed rest. I was like, you know what? I still have a lot of work to do, but I'm going to take the time to rest my body. My body is saying, you know what? No, you need to go and rest yourself. So kept it light, kept it easy, and took my rest. And that is listening to the intelligence of my body. Now, a lot of people think resting, if you rest, then you're going to lose your momentum. But if you're really tuned in and embodied with yourself, you'll know that rest is going to give you a lot more energy to complete or jump into something new. So having those rest moments is important, and it's not a setback. Okay. It's not like eating um, a bunch of potatoes or whatever. Grounding. All right. Quality number 5 is wonder. Okay. Wonder. Wonder I would describe as remaining curious. Okay. So, wonder is allowing mystery to exist without rushing to solve it. All right. A lot of people are like, what's the meaning of life? And they're just want to have an answer and not really appreciate just not knowing something. There's a lot of things that I don't know. But I enjoy remaining curious about it. I don't know the cosmology because I've never actually experienced what the cosmology might be, but having curiosity and wonder about what it might be is exciting to me. Um, say a prayer tonight or tomorrow. Much love, y'all. Sweet dreams. Have a good night, 7-Eleven. Okay. So allowing that mystery to exist, not like grinding to find the answer, but remaining open and curious about, I wonder what that means. It's a beautiful thing. It's very childlike. And, you know, having that childlike innocence and that childlike wonderment is important for you to cultivate. And I think it's an important quality to kind of keep in within you and keep coming back to. All right. The next one, number 6, is humility. All right. Humility is recognizing that greater capability does not guarantee understanding. And having humility it is an important quality to have. All right. We don't need to be the most capable to have worth. All right. And being able to have humility and say, you know what, that really is really embarrassing that I was holding that opinion or that thought or whatever it is. Um, and knowing that you're not going to understand everything, not like when you were a teenager, right? Teenagers know everything, kids know everything. But once you start to mature, you realize that, you're not going to understand everything. And it's completely okay to have that humility in your system to say, you know what, I'm not going to know everything. I'm not going to understand everything. And it's going to be fine. The next quality, and I did a stream on this one as well, is stewardship. And stewardship is moving from ownership to responsibility. Okay. It's really asking what has been entrusted in my care. And stewardship it's interesting because it's like this, instead of like trying to own stuff, you move, it's almost like this next level advancement of I'm moving from owning something, okay, I'm going to take care of it, to being truly responsible for it. All right. Really looking at, okay, that's been entrusted in my care. I'm going to attend it differently. I rent my house, but I treat it with a certain deeper level of responsibility. Like when I was doing that stewardship stream, when I was redoing, like moving things around in my office here, I was like wiping down the walls. And I'm just, as I'm doing, I'm like, I'm taking care of the thing that has been entrusted to me. And that's stewardship. And it's a beautiful thing to have. Number 8, and these aren't like in list of best to worst, is love. Okay. Love. And it's not just affection. Love is choosing the good of another. All right. It's choosing the good of another. And it's a deep emotion. It's a beautiful quality to have, just this aura of love. Okay. Number 9 is compassion. And compassion is meeting suffering, uh, meeting suffering with understanding instead of judgment. Okay. So meeting suffering with understanding rather than with judgment. And I don't think that wholeheartedly judgment should just be tossed out the window. Um, but compassion is being able to see somebody else's suffering and not come at them with your judgment. And judgment isn't bad, okay? But if you're going to come into somebody's life and try to like dictate based on your own judgment, rather than understanding that, okay, this person's going through a thing that I've gone through before, and instead of trying to tell that person, okay, here's the way that you need to get out of it, I'm just going to listen to where they're at and allow them to move through that suffering on their own so that they're growing and developing. And that's compassion. That's having compassion for somebody in their situation. And it happens to me quite often. Like, I've been at this for a long time, and I used to come in and like, oh, you should do blah 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 blah, and give this unfettered and unrestricted advice to people. They did not hear it. And as I got older, you know, talk about humility, I started seeing, oh, there's lots of things that I was doing that I couldn't hear others even say either. So just having that compassion, um, through understanding, just meeting their suffering with understanding, is a beautiful quality to cultivate and is worth having in your wheelhouse. All right. The next the next quality is courage. So courage is choosing truth despite uncertainty. Okay? Choosing truth despite uncertainty. And it can be really difficult. Um, the courage to walk away from relationships that you know aren't serving you anymore. And not that this is like a narcissistic serving you. This is a, you know, that every time you're around this person or this friend group or whatever, that they're pulling your energy away from you. They're taking more than they're giving. Um, and having that courage to say, you know what, this is the truth of the situation. I don't know how it's going to pan out, but I am unable to be around that person anymore, and really state like, you know, I had to walk away from two significant relationships that I had last year. One minorly significant relationship that I can think off the top of my head, but I had to choose truth, knowing that separating myself from these relationships could be really difficult and would be a little bit more alienating. And but I knew that deep down I needed to choose to live in truth of what the outcome of these relationships would be. Okay. And so that could be seen as courage. And did it hurt? Oh yeah. It's, some of these are not easy to cultivate, but did it make sense after a time? Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Now, the next one is integrity. All right. Integrity is an alignment between beliefs, words, and actions. So, all three of these states are in alignment, they're in integrity. So, if you believe something and you say something that's completely different from what you believe, and you're saying something, but then even your actions are not in alignment, that's out of integrity. Okay. And you'll start to notice those things. Oh, that doesn't feel good. When I say that I'm going to do this and my actions are this, that doesn't feel good. I'm out of integrity. And holding compassion for yourself and realigning, re-engaging so that your beliefs, your words, and your actions are all in alignment is like we're all working on doing those things. So just keep on going. Okay. Um, we're almost halfway through. So the next one is moral imagination. So we're imagining not only what can be built, but what should be built. Okay. So we're not imagining what can be built, but what should be built. And the moral imagination that I like to kind of put towards this, like the ideal that I'm thinking of, is that, we're building all this AI, and they're the people that are managing all this AI are just building, 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 building. And it's like at a certain point, I don't know, or maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Are they saying, we can build this, but should we? All right. That's the moral imagination of should we be building this? So having that quality is going to be an important one to cultivate. And I think a lot of people that are speaking out against AI and saying, you know, hey, maybe we should stop and think about what we're doing here, they're not bad. It's not bad to do that. In fact, I think it's necessary in the whole, as things go forward, for people to start saying, wait, but you're doing that. Should we be doing that? Okay. So that's a good example of a moral imagination. Now, the next quality worth cultivating is responsibility. Okay. Responsibility is owning the consequences. So, you're going to do something, and you know that it's going to have a consequence. It could have a negative one, it could have a positive one, it could have a neutral one. But whatever it is, you're going to own whatever that consequence is. Yeah, I'm going to take this risk and do this. And that kind of aligns with the courage we were talking about earlier, as number 10. So owning the consequence is responsibility. You're not outsourcing it. All right. You're going to make a decision, you're going to stick with it. You're going to have integrity, right? Because you're believing in that. Your words are aligned to it, and the actions that you're doing in owning that responsibility, these are all, webbed together. Um, the next one, number 14, is meaning making. And this one is a beautiful one because um, it really shows the separation of this cognitive intelligence. Okay. So humans aren't merely meant to collect information, right? We do, our bodies do, our bones are like little memory libraries of environments and experiences that we've had, or that we're going through. Okay. Meaning making is very, very important. I think a lot of people that are not focused on making meaning in their lives are having a hard time trying to parse those things out. So we create narratives that shape our very lives and our communities, through this beautiful quality of making meaning of things. I like to think of meaning making as also like having purpose. Okay. Having a purpose filled life, knowing that you're here to make a difference and to be able to arrange things and shape them into something, into a narrative that will fulfill you, in your life, your community, whatever it may be. So figuring out what purpose matters to you, and also how to make meaning out of whatever qualities that you have that are amazing. Or maybe not amazing. Maybe they're not amazing and you're like, man, but it's such a good thing. such a good thing for me to do this. So I like to think of, helping other people, helping less fortunate, and really trying to be a positive presence in your own life because you have authorship, you have authority, and you're able to do that, creating a narrative. Number 15, and I have 25, so we're at 15 out of 25, is gratitude. So, gratitude is a quality worth cultivating in your life. And gratitude is recognizing gifts um, that cannot be earned. All right. Recognizing gifts that cannot be earned. And what an amazing quality to have. Even the things that have been taken away and I've had to like reorient my life, I see, I recognize the gifts and I'm very grateful for the experiences. So it doesn't have to be something tangible, it's like intangible as well. Okay. Number 16 is reverence, seeing life as worthy of care rather than merely useful. Okay. So, really honoring that you even have a breath to give is seeing life as worthy. There's a reverence in that, knowing that you were put here to care for yourself in such a way that you're an amazing creation. Like the way that our bodies operate and function and the things that we have been learning about it in the last, you know, 10 to 20 years, and we're continuing to learn more and more and more scientifically, is so amazing. And having reverence for just the fact that we can be humans and breathe and think and make meaning and have compassion for others, like all of these qualities like are miraculous. It's quite amazing to even think of and put into words, right? We're not just useful, but we're worthy of having that care in our lives. And it starts with how we view ourselves. Like, that's why having all of these qualities is important. We're so valuable and we're muses of the technology and we're the caretakers of the world that we're in. I don't even know if my words give it justice. It's just the reverence that I have just for being in my physical body it's amazing, okay? All right. Next one is forgiveness. So, forgiveness is another quality that is worth cultivating in your life. And forgiveness can also be known as releasing resentment. So, choosing restoration whenever possible. So, choosing to restore relationships, choosing to restore whatever it is. And does that mean that you forget what somebody did ill to you over and over and over again? Absolutely not, right? We still need to love and care for ourselves and know what our boundaries are. However, being able to forgive and release the resentment will lead to a much more fulfilling life for you. Okay? So you don't have to choose to restore the relationship, but you get to choose to restore yourself because you can and you can have that forgiveness. Now, number 18 is creativity. Creativity is so, so important. I think a lot of people are kind of pulled away from creativity in their life. And creativity is not just this knack for producing novelty. Creativity is expressing lived experiences in ways that connect with other people. Okay. It could be storytelling, it could just be engaging with another person. And you know what else about creativity that was kind of confirmed? It was confirmed. Um, so years ago, I was really, really bitter, and I was just working. Like I was just going to work, coming home, going to sleep, and I was burning out. And I was trying to figure out what is what is the cure for this. And um, I got laid off for a couple weeks, but I thought it was going to be a lot more long term. And so I picked up this creative, crafty hobby. And so I was creating things. I was in front of the camera and I was making things and just chatting with people about whatever, kind of like I do now. And um, it helped to alleviate and actually make me feel better at work. So creativity is not just the production of novelty, but the creativity that you have is is like a cure for burnout. So if you're experiencing burnout, figure out however in whatever capacity you have, create something. Now, if you're into woodworking, do that. If you're into gardening, do that. Like just start creating and continue to create the world around you. Maybe it's like cleaning and rearranging your house. Whatever the creative function that you're connected with, that you feel good doing, do that. If you are in any burnout level, and it will help to kind of cure that depression or whatever the thing is that's causing agitation in your life. When you create, it like connects, it's like this energetic connection that will help to resolve that. So please cultivate that in your life too. And even if you're not in burnout, like just find creative outlets. Mine happens to be canning. That's one of my hobbies. And I enjoy it. And so it's been really fun. It's exhausting and it's tiring, but it's also rewarding to me. So just think about that in your life. Okay, number 19 is relationship. So, relationship is a quality worth cultivating. And relationship is knowing and being known. Okay, so there's mutual trust in the relationship, there's a little bit of community in relationship. And it's important for us to have these experiences, to have this stuff. I was watching I was watching this reel the other day on Facebook, I believe, and the there was this lady and she's like, I'm just going to stop doing dinner parties. So she used to throw these dinner parties and she's like, people just don't show up. They flake off. They're not committed, and it's expensive, and it's a lot of work to put into something, to have somebody say, "Oh yeah, I'll come," and then just cancel. And I was like, I experienced that too. I experienced that too. I feel I feel you. I don't like that either. So make sure that you're cultivating these relationships that you have, to know people and be known, and just be known for having a lot of these qualities that we're talking about, and building that community in your local area, and figuring out, okay, where are my people at? Where are my people? Okay. Number 20 is service. So using our gifts that we have for something larger than ourselves. So for me, part of my service is coming online and just talking about these things. Really, it's not just helping other people, but it's also helping me to deepen into some of these concepts and really be able to mete out the fruit of what I'm talking about. So sometimes I come on and it's like, I'm just gonna throw spaghetti at the wall and figure out, where I stand with this information. But it's also a gift for other people. So, sometimes I'll come on and I'll be chatting about something, and it's like there'll be somebody in the chat and they're like, man, I really needed to hear that today. And, even that one person makes all the hours and minutes that I do come on stream and talk about stuff valuable because that's the service that I'm providing. Okay. All right, we're done. We're almost done. Number 21 is play. So playing is super important. In my bike commute, I was talking about how I say good morning to the trees and I notice them, and I say good morning to the river, and I say more good morning to the duck. And there's like a certain spot on my commute that I especially do that. And it makes me think of those good night moon books or good morning, whatever, like children's books. So just having those interactions is very playful to me. I'm just like, oh, good morning, River, looking good today. So part of that is play. So play is exploration without immediate utility. You're not just out searching for, okay, this holds utility. Play is just having a joy in exploring the world around you. It's joy without productivity, without utility, okay? And having that is a quality that is deeply important. It'll bring like having play will bring a lot of joy in your life. All right? And joy without the pressure. Number 22 is awe. So I really like wonder and I love, love, love awe. Just allowing the beauty around me, allowing the nature or art, or even just coming into like some of these thoughts that I have, and like just continuing to go down until I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that is amazing. Just thinking, oh my gosh, our glands mean something, our minds mean something, being in rest, it means something, and just being in awe of all the experiences of everyday existence. And then I'm in awe of the nature around me. Like it's so beautiful. Some of the rivers, the colors, the smell of nature sometimes. Like I love to go, I'm going floating on Thursday, I think. We'll see what the air quality looks like. But just being able to go and do that is awesome. Okay. So, really looking at the world in awe and embracing that quality within us, and just knowing that I'm allowing that to reshape me, of the beauty around me, the nature. Um, I don't really go to museums, but I do like to look at, oh, okay. Oh, you made that. Oh, all right. Just being in awe of some of the things that we're capable of, and just the fact that we exist is amazing. Okay. Number 23 is agency. And agency is that capacity to choose intentionally rather than just reacting to the world around us. So, agency is such a beautiful, it's such a beautiful character and quality that you can add to your repertoire. Um, But just knowing that you have that capacity to choose with intention, okay? You can choose with intention. You don't have to react, You can just wait and choose because you have agency and nobody's forcing you. I mean, if you're not using your agency, somebody will come in and try to start driving your meat suit. So it may as well be you in the driver's seat. All right. And having that agency is going to allow you to keep that coherence that you have within yourself, that, ultimately you want to feel full in your body and fully present, in your body, outside of your body, and really have intention with the movements that you make, with your decisions, with your emotions. Like, I know sometimes emotions will come up and you're like, I don't know where this is coming from. But when you interact with intention and have holding that agency with those emotions, it becomes a lot more easier for you to kind of hold those feelings and then allow them to be released, because now you're in control. You're holding the steering wheel of your own being. Okay, number 24, and we're almost done, is resilience. Resilience is a quality worth cultivating. Resilience is growing through adversity without becoming hardened. Okay, growing through adversity without becoming hardened. And resilience, a lot of people like to, talk about that. And a lot of people do, like, everybody goes through some sort of adversity in one way or another. And we can't judge what another person's adverse situation that they're going through. We can't really judge um, whether or not that's hard for them or if it's easy. So I used to do that. I used to judge somebody like, oh yeah, you don't know what it's like to blah 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 blah, whatever the thing is. And I was like, I've been through way more hard things than you. And the truth is, yeah, I have. But just because I have does not necessarily mean that because I got through it, that somebody going through something lesser, um, that it's just as intense. Some people can go through a lot less and experience even more intensity with the situation. We're just all built different. And so resilience comes in many flavors, many different intensities, and just being able to grow through whatever adversity you have in your life, whether it's childhood trauma, abusive family members, or whatever the situation that you've gone through that's adverse. Maybe it's even like in your workplace, having just terrible people that you work with. Um, if you're able to grow through those adverse situations without becoming hardened, that is resilience, and it's a beautiful quality to hold. Okay. And finally, the last quality we're going to talk about is hope. And so, um, hope is not optimism that everything will work out, but the willingness to continue to act toward what is good, even amid uncertainty. Okay. So holding hope is also this other beautiful quality that you can have within yourself. And these 25 I've kind of pulled out and set aside as really amazing qualities to have. I mean, if I had a friend that held all 25 of these, I'd be pretty stoked. I'd be like, oh, okay, this is great. I can really vibe with that. You want to be entrained around people that are holding these qualities as well, or qualities that you value. So, the thing about these qualities is there's nothing in them. Like, we just listed 25 qualities. There's nothing in these qualities that are the primary function of them is processing information faster. So, we started today's discussion about how different we are from AI, and AI is kind of taking one portion of what it means to be human and is able to kind of like process it really fast. Okay. But all of these things that I'm talking about are also important, but they're qualities that aren't about information processing. They're about relationships with yourself, relationships with others, really strong emotional intelligence instead of cognitive intelligence. Okay. And there's very much different things. Now, the beautiful thing about IQ versus EQ, so information or intelligence quotient versus an emotional quotient, intelligence for mental intelligence or cognitive intelligence versus emotional intelligence. So the IQ, you can't raise that number. It's pretty much steady, and it kind of declines over time as you get older. And that number is, or maybe if you have some sort of um, event that changes that number, but that number is going to stay relatively the same. Okay. With EQ, it it's like how well are you at interacting with yourself? How well are you at interacting with others? So there's an emotional and social score that goes with it. And if you're at a low emotional intelligent or low frequency with your emotional and social, you can build those numbers up to have a high hold a higher frequency. And it really does come down to that. So a lot of these are tied to that. Another thing about the qualities that I'm talking about is it's more about how we inhabit our lives. So how are we inhabiting our body? Are we embodied? Are we holding agency within ourselves? Are we present? And really looking at how we use that information to um, just be, just be. Okay. So, a big part of what I have been working on is looking at how people feel disembodied and mapping that out to help kind of put to words how to get back to embodiment. And so that's been I mean, for the last 6 years, something that I've been working on and really just accelerating in these last years, in the last months too. So if when information became abundant, what became scarce? And if intelligence becomes abundant, what becomes scarce? Those are the questions that we're really kind of trying to map out within our own identities at the moment as a human race, as a civilization, with the entrance of all of this AI coming in. So if you were looking at that question and trying to figure out what is becoming scarce in the age of AI, what is becoming scarce in the age of information. Um, are these things that I'm talking about, the qualities that I've listed, are those could those be considered scarce? Like, what is your list that you would come up with that would be a scarcity in the age of AI where intelligence is becoming abundant? Okay, because it's just a movement of energy. So we've got to figure out how are we going to respond to it. All right. And I think that will end our discussion tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been episode number 78. Qualities worth cultivating. It's almost too hard to say. But it's been my pleasure to bring this transmission to you guys. It's been my pleasure to join you again this week. And I hope everyone has been having a wonderful week. I will see you guys next week for another transmission of the Celestic Intelligence Podcast. I am the host and creator of Celestic Intelligence Podcast, Amelie, and it has been, like, again, I say, it has been my pleasure. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching, liking, subbing. I love you guys, and it's been good to see you. Have a good evening.